guys, this is Eileen Konecki from Just Kettlebells, and today I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Turkish Get-Up. This was a request from the people out at Eastland Chiropractic, who I love. They're a great bunch and are really doing amazing work with kettlebells. But the Turkish Get-Up is a complicated movement, and it takes a lot of time to learn, and there's a lot of cues. The nice thing about the Turkish Get-Up is that it's performed slowly. So unlike the swing, where you kind of have to remember all the cues or clear your brain and just swing, and it eventually gets better over time, the Turkish Get-Up, you really can stop in each position and think about, are you in the best position, and think about the cues. So what the video request was just to kind of go through a Turkish Get-Up, and I'm going to kind of spit out as many cues as I can think of that have helped me with my Turkish Get-Up and that I've learned from other instructors. And so this is where we're going to start. I like to start sitting on the floor with my feet in a V, and just to get that, it's an easier way to teach it so people can see your position when you're laying on the floor. And so my feet are about 45 degrees angle. Now, you know, they don't have to be 45 degrees. They need to be in a comfortable place where you can use your feet to leverage that roll up, and they're in the right position. The side with the bell is going to be the side that's bent, the knee that's bent. So I like to remember that as bell, bent, same side. So that's an easy cue for me. And then as we come down to the floor, I'm just going to slide up a little. As we come down to the floor, our arm position is going to be, the arm that's not bent is going to be parallel and on the same side as the leg that's not bent. And then once we roll up into position, our arm is going to be bent on the same side our leg is bent. So I'm going to demonstrate how to pick up the bell, the original rollover, and this is really fairly easy. You kind of want your elbow to be tucked into your side. That will give you a good position when you start. Put your hand under the handle of the bell, put the other hand over, and you're just going to roll onto your back. Now in this position, I'm going to turn a little bit. My arm should be at 90 degrees. My knuckles should be pointing to the ceiling. So we don't want to be like this with the bell and turn our wrist. Knuckles should be to the ceiling, and our wrist and our hand should always form a club so that we're not ever hanging back like that. For some people this is uncomfortable and they like to use a wristband. I usually do. Today I'm not. But the bones on the wrist, sometimes the size of the bell gets right into where the bones are on the wrist. So the first movement that we need to do is press the bell up. But before we do that, we need to remember that we press from our core. So what we do is I'm going to pull my shoulder blades back and down. I'm going to stabilize my core with a brace. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to press the bell up. In this position, my arm should not be bent. My arm should be straight. And my shoulder and my arm should still be sucked down into the socket, so that if someone came and tried to pull on my arm would not come out of the socket. I would be tight, so my whole body would come up in that first position. So we want to be very connected here and not lose our connection to the floor with the bell through our arm. The next position, the next movement we need to make is a roll up. And a lot of people try and do this as a sit up, and it makes it very difficult. So this is the next step is a roll up. And in order to roll up, we need to use our body, our entire body, to roll up. So I'm going to be pressing off the heel of this foot, digging that into the ground. My other heel, I'm going to be digging into the floor too. And my elbow, I'm going to be pressing in. And really, we pivot up on the elbow. So these 3 points of contact are really going to be connected with the floor. I'm going to keep my abdominal brace, and I'm going to keep my eye on the bell, and then my eyes and my body are going to follow the bell up. In this position too, we want to make sure that we are, the shoulder again is packed in and not, so we're not down like here, so our body is tall. Always keep your ear and your shoulder as far apart as possible. It's a nice way to remember it. You should kind of push through. But really, if you're pushing through your contacts with the floor, you know, those things will happen automatically. The next step we want to do here is the movement to tall sit. There's a lot of different cues that people do. I've seen squish the bug, which is a nice one, where you put your hand down and you pivot, you kind of squish the bug in. but a lot of people just kind of slide their hand. What you don't want to do is lose contact with the floor. So you don't want to come up to here, because that's going to ask for too much stabilization when you're holding a bell overhead. So remain looking at the bell, and then come up to your hand. And again, shoulders as far away from the ear. This elbow is locked, and the tall elbow is locked. My knuckles are still to the ceiling. The next move, again, there's a lot of variations. I'm going to do the standard variation, which is the low leg sweep. And so how you get to the low leg sweep, we're looking at our bell. I'm going to tuck my leg in. I'm going to come up on this hand, and I'm going to slide my leg under. Now, what we're looking for here in this position is a three-point. I'm going to need to adjust this foot. So what I want is a triangle made with my foot and my knee and my hand, so that, in particular, these are in line. And I want my hand far enough away from my body so that I can put my elbow to the floor if I want it. This is too close. This is too far. Basically, you're making a straight line here. Breaking up here. You're making a straight line between your two arms. So the next what we want to do is we're going to get to the lunge position. In order to do this, we need to hinge back, which takes the weight off this hand. And then we can come up, and then I'm going to take my back foot and pivot it around. And again, here I'm going to readjust my positions. From this point on, from the lunge to the stand, I'm going to be looking straight ahead and not up at the bell. Most people, once they get to the lunge position, they need to readjust this arm, which has been a little bit more forward when we were on the floor. Now it needs to be back in line with the ear so that we're supporting our weight with our lat muscles. From here, we're going to step up to the stand. Now the step up is not a forward motion, upward. It's a stand tall through this front foot. The back foot needs to be dorsiflexed, and so the toes are on the floor, like that. And so we're gonna. For me, I think the most important thing is to tuck this hip back. We're thinking forward. We want to come forward with this hip, but you need to square this hip back so that your body is in the right position where you can just kind of come up and stand up. And basically, I should be able to hold this without this foot. This is how much weight is going to be here. In the beginning, I know I had to use this back foot for leverage because I didn't know how to position my hips. So if you're like this, yeah, you're going to have to kick off that back foot. But the best motion and the safest motion, the proper motion, is to tuck that hip back, push through that front foot, and stand straight up as if there was a chain connected to your sternum and just lifting you up. And then you're just going to reverse the motions backward. I like to tap my legs. Remember, that's the leg that goes back, so I'm going to tap this leg. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to make sure I'm square again by pulling that hip back. From here, I'm going to look up at the bell. I'm going to pivot my back leg. Now I'm going to hinge into this hip again, and I'm going to slide my hand down my thigh and walk it out, and that will give me good position. Because I'm not able to look down at that position, that will give me good position for my hand, so that I'll be in line. Here, I'm going to now hinge forward, get my weight on this hand, so I can kick my leg back through. And then I'm just going to come back to my elbow, and come back down to the ground. So I talked a lot. I think that's a lot of cues. Practice the motion with no bell. Then practice the motion with a shoe. The shoe will really force you to slow down and to always be looking at it, at least to the initial positions until you get to into that lunge position. And then move to a bell. You're teaching your body how to move correctly under the weight. So you want to make sure that your body is moving safely before you load it. You don't want to load that compensation pattern. So start no bell, then shoe, then move to a light weight, and just keep practicing and it will come. Thanks.